a lot of people look at the price tag, Pace, and they'll say, "Oh, it's $700. Man, that's expensive." I
It
don't know
is.
if this
It is
for me.
expensive. It is
And
expensive.
it is expensive. However, one of the sharp guys in the community, but he goes as Porter. He had a great line. He said, if you can't get $700 worth of value out of BetBash, you probably shouldn't be betting sports at a serious level.
Hello, welcome in. It's Behind the Lines, purifying sports betting, succeeding with SX. I'm Shane. Pace is here. John in the house. And on today's show, Spanky joining us. We're talking all things BetBash and more. Then, of course, the Gridiron Grind Canada edition. Yep, stay tuned for that. Coming up, your favorite segment. But first, of course, Spanky, welcome back to the show. Great to have you on, man. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks, Shane, Paige, John, for having me on In Play Live Behind the Lines. It's always a pleasure doing this. Second year in a row now, I think we've been doing this before BetBash, so I appreciate you guys welcoming me back.
Yeah, we talked to you, almost 1 year ago to the week, I think, something like that. Pretty close. I teased our CFL segment coming up a little later in the show. Thank you. You bet on any Canadian football?
I don't know, Nah, that's not what I'm all about. I just stick to the U.S. sports for the most part. We used to dabble in a little bit here and there. I know it's pretty lucrative. I know you guys do make a killing on it, so maybe I should tell my guys to look into it a little bit more. But no, we haven't touched it in a while.
The issue, as I'm sure you know, Spanky, when it comes to some of these other sports, is it's already hard enough to get money down when you win money betting. The CFL doesn't make it any easier for you, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely, especially if you're betting the CFL from New Jersey. That's it's like betting NASCAR in New Jersey. There's only you either got to be a real degenerate or a super sharp to bet NASCAR based out of Jersey. Nobody's betting NASCAR that's a fan from where I'm from, really. So, but yeah, no, I'm glad you guys are having a good year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, well, we didn't bring you on here to talk about a CFL. You're here mainly to talk about BetBash, and I think we're like 3 weeks away, something like that. It's coming up real fast. First, for anybody out there that maybe is still on the fence with it, is there still time to register? Can you attend if you haven't signed up already? And what can people expect?
Absolutely, you could attend. Tickets on sale, betbash.co. VIP tickets will be selling out soon, but general admission tickets are going to be available, most likely up until the day of the event. They may sell out as well, but I think we should be okay with GA tickets. All the ticket, you have it. Thank you so much for putting it on there.
Yeah.
Shane, you could just see it. It's all there. And poker tournament tickets are sold out. Ultimate VIP is sold out. We still got a few golf tournament tickets left. And listen, BetBash is it's our 5th year doing this, 4th year from Las Vegas at the Circus Sportsbook and Casino. And we're so excited to be partnered with Circus, so excited to be coming back to Vegas to offer the, I should say the premier, the elite sports betting conference. But it's honestly the only sports betting conference out there focused on the gambler, on the sports bettor. So there's really nobody on our heels trying to offer something of this magnitude. So we're very proud to offer this. It was a void that needed to be filled in the community several years ago. And, I'm a kind of guy that I don't just wait around for somebody to do something and get things done. If I see there's a void that needs to be filled, I'm going to go ahead and fill that void. And with the backing of the sports gambling community and with sharp guys and great guys like your group to help us with BetBash and help support us, we're happy to come back for a 5th year, and we hope to be back for decades and decades to come.
Spanky, what would you say? Like, obviously, I attended BetBash for the first time last year. I'm not going to get into my experience because I want to hear from you. What would you say to someone that is on the fence for attending that maybe isn't the sharpest guy but is interested?
I always what I say is that if a lot of people look at the price tag, Pace, and they'll say, "Oh, it's $700. Man, that's expensive. I
It
don't know
is.
if this
It
is
is
for me."
expensive. It is
And
expensive.
it is expensive. However, one of the sharp guys in the community, but it goes as Porter. He had a great line. He said, if you can't get $700 worth of value out of BetBash, you probably shouldn't be betting sports at a serious level. And I thought that was the greatest line. And I think it's a $700 investment that you could make to make you realize, you know what? I need to either further and get into this game or get out now while the tuition is low. And that's what it's all about. If you want to become a better, the opportunities at BetBash are there. They're sitting right in front of you. No matter where you are, whether it be at the speed networking events, at the open bars, during the seminars, et cetera, et cetera. And if you just make one connection, if you learn one thing that could last you for years and years to come, what's $700 in the long run? So that's how we look at it.
I'll actually speak to that. Go ahead,
I'm
Shane.
counting 4 nights of open bar. I think I can get my $700 worth, no problem.
Shane, I've had drinks with you. You'll get your $700 worth on night one.
First night, exactly.
Yeah. So I can speak to that though, like separately of like consumption. On the speed networking last year, I met a guy, and it was actually kind of a funny story because he was pretending to be interested in what I do. And then he finally just said to me right in the dying seconds, he's like, "Dude, I got to level with you. I'm a bookie and I'm just looking for customers." And I said to him, Spanky, I go, "You know what, dude? Totally appreciate that. You really don't want me playing on your sports book." And he's like, "I've heard that before." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you a chance." Anyways, 4 days later, $15,000 of profit. He cut me off. But there's example number one of how I benefited from BetBash in the speed networking last year. In the speed networking, we ended up booking, what would you say, Shane, maybe 10 high quality podcast guests for this show?
At least 10 high quality guests, and probably a few others as well that maybe didn't quite reach that level. But
I'm actually going to get into that in a second because that's something I want to bring up to Spanky as well. Then in the seminars, I felt like I learned a shitload about how to play Survivor better, even though I took the Bengals in week 1 in the Circus Survivor last year. But that seminar was freaking insane. Judah and who was he with? The guy from Nove, Colin? Henry, sorry. Okay, so their presentation on the NFL, I don't bet pregame, Spanky, and I think we talked offline about, obviously live betting being kind of underrepresented last year. But as someone who doesn't bet pregame, I learned a lot that helped me with my live betting. And I think that seminar on the NFL was a really good like preseason primer with really good information. And I know it wasn't specifically like about the NFL, and a lot of it was about some of those parlays and things like that. But my God, it's just really good information. And then the college football primer. Oh my God. Those guys knew more about college football than I could have ever imagined in my life. And the things they spoke about and talk about, I mean, we ended up doing 12% ROI on our college football live bets last year. And that session got me mentally sharp and ready for week 1. I was so pumped for college football, so ready to go. And so as an individual bettor, met a bookie, got some great information that led to profits throughout the season. From a networking standpoint, got some great guests on the podcast, and then we ended up with some members from at In Play Live that are with us today that came and traveled to Vancouver for our event that we're in BetBash. So we absolutely loved it, and I agree with you. $700 is not cheap, but if you can't get $700 worth of value in BetBash, you can't figure out value at all. So yeah, it was awesome. Now, Spanky, I want to ask you a question. One of the people that we had on one of our podcasts that kind of turned into a little bit of a joke offline because he lives in his mom's basement and couldn't figure out how to use Wi-Fi, was GRP. I thought he got kicked out of BetBash one year.
Yeah, the first BetBash 2, GRP wind up sneaking into BetBash, didn't want to pay for a ticket, and wind up sneaking in. He was discovered by security and my good friend Fats, and he was escorted off the premises. Last year he came, he paid for a ticket, and finally he finally realized that was not the right thing to do. And and I think he's matured since then. And listen, look, the one thing about our industry, guys, is there's a bunch of characters in this shit, man.
He's
And
one of them.
we're all characters. Every one of us in a certain, shapewear form is a character. Some are higher level characters, exponential level, etc. And and he is definitely a character. He's there's just you can't make shit like this up. The stuff and he's built a pretty loyal following on his Twitter account. I think he's a nice guy. I've had breakfast with him. I enjoyed his company, and I met him at BetBash again. He was at the first BetBash in Jersey City, actually. So he's been at all 5 BetBashes, even though he'll be at all 5 BetBashes, even though the second one he snuck in. We're giving a commemorative pin to people that have been to all 5 BetBashes. Do I give him one of those pins, given that he snuck in to BetBash 2, or do we kind of, withhold that pin from him? Love your opinion on that.
Well, I think that second chances in life are 100% a thing. And the fact that he's putting on a presentation, I find, number one, hilarious, and also interesting that he landed that role. I think you do it while you give the background story briefly, so that people that don't know that you can get into BetBash the hard way and still be rewarded for it as kind of a joke.
Well,
honestly, I think the whole story is hilarious, so I think it's worth telling.
I agree, but I don't want to, we don't want to let people think that you could sneak in and be rewarded for it. That's, at the end of the day, we are selling tickets here, guys. So
someone snuck in last year that I saw, but he left pretty quickly. So, and he's a pretty prominent guy on social media as well.
Yeah. There's guys that sneak in, it's, and we try to lock it down. Look, it is what it is. These guys, there's a maturity level involved, and if you think that's the right move, by all means. But if we catch you, my buddy Fats is going to be there, and I will make sure Fats sits on you if we catch you, and we will, and there will be no prisoners. So,
I love how you said that GRP has matured.
That's
the guy is already like in his 60s.
Yeah, and he's an older guy, but sometimes social maturity is different than than your age maturity. So he admitted that he was wrong and he apologized, and that's that.
Yeah, well said.
I gotta ask you though, Spanky, because I think you did get some blowback on social media. I would call it mixed reviews for the seminars and how you came up with them and who's on them and when, where, and the timing of them all. So I've got the chart up here. Just give us some insight into how you kind of went about creating the seminar schedule. What were you looking, to accomplish? And I guess, was it mainly focused on education, mainly focused on providing a show and entertainment? What were you sort of trying to accomplish with it?
Well, the 4 prongs of BetBash we have are networking, legends, education, and fun. And Pace alluded to all that, where he kind of, achieved a lot of them. I don't know if you ran into any legends last year, but
big time.
So there you go. So we try to hit all 4 of those things in everything that we're doing. So I'm looking, when I build this whole seminar schedule, I'm looking to have some fun with entertainment. I'm looking to have some education. I'm looking to feature legends and Hall of Famers, past, present, and future. And I'm willing to offer, to be able to give opportunities to network. So these seminars, I look at myself, I've been doing this now for over 25 years. So I try to put myself in, all right, what would Spanky first introduced to sports betting, what seminar would he want to see? So obviously something like a sports betting 101, and you would think, oh, BetBash, sports betting 101, that's so basic. Last year at BetBash, we had over 90 people. I think it was 93 people sign up for sports betting 101. So there are a lot of newcomers that come to BetBash. So we have to be able to cater to those new bettors that are coming into the space. And then I would ask myself, okay, how about 1 year in, Spanky, 3 years in? The first year, my first 1 year in, I'm not thinking about taxes or the law. I don't get none of that. But when I'm 5-10 years in, I'm like, shit, I'm making a lot of money here. Maybe I should think about how I should properly file my taxes, because most gamblers don't file their taxes correctly. And also, I should make sure that I'm obeying all the laws. Last year, Professor I. Nelson Rose, who runs the Gambling and the Law seminar, his seminar was titled "How to Not Get Arrested." And that's to make sure that you're doing things and working with these gray markets and on the up and up. So little things like this, and then as you get bigger and bigger, then you get to the advanced seminars like scaling, how to turn your operation into a bigger operation. Your guys talking about how to maybe learn how to your seminar will be catered both to beginners and pros, how to enter the in-play market. And, for people like me that have not really touched the in-play market, that are in mostly the pregame market. And then everything in between. So, you want to be able to cater to the experts. You want to be able to cater to the beginners, and then everybody in between to have, banking and gambling. That's another one that's, people don't think once you get bigger, how do you properly bank? I've been kicked out of so many banks in my lifetime because once they hear that you're a gambler, they're like, gambler? What kind of shit is this? We don't want to, and then you just get kicked out. So how do you properly, present yourself as a gambler, and how do you let banks accept you, and how do you, comply with all the banking laws and everything, and the KYC and AML laws, and make sure that everything's on the up and up. So there's just so many different facets. It's not just, and then of course the sports fans, the college football previews, the NFL previews, different things on parlays, different things on we have a horse racing panel. One of our sponsors, AM Wager, talks for people, because horse racing I always look at as the cousin of sports betting. Most of us, at least when you're 18 in the States, you kind of you start betting horses at the racetrack, and I think all of us kind of got introduced to gambling, whether it be playing poker or betting horses. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for pari-mutuel betting and the horse racing, and I think that's something that we offer to our attendees, and the list goes on and on. So networking, and we have something on UFC this year, and then we also have the legends. We have bookmaking legends, and we have this year's Hall of Fame class. Contest proxies, how to use spank odds, or now spot odds as we call it. We had a name change, to maximize your earn. And then we have 6 live podcasts as well. So we kind of give something for everybody to be able to wet their beak, and they're tough choices. If I always look, and again, I'm sorry for this long-winded answer, but the way I look at it is, as long as I have one person in the room for each of these, slots, and there's 5 choices in each time slot. If there's one person going to that slot, that means they chose that one seminar or one podcast over the 4 other options. That means I did a good job. I fed someone's appetite for that topic that otherwise wouldn't be. I've quenched their thirst that otherwise wouldn't have been catered to, and that's what it's all about. So if somebody has a problem, oh man, I can't believe this GRP seminar. Okay, no problem. You have another 4 different choices to choose from. Yeah. You want to go to something a lot more serious? Check out Gambling and the Law at that time slot. Or my buddy Matt Landis is running a podcast where he's going to do beer tasting, where he'll be talking.
Which is awesome, by the way, Spanky. That's really cool. Like I was looking at that, and that's great timing to do something that's like, people have just done all these seminars, and it's like, hey, go have a freaking sip of wine tasting and education.
Yeah.
Cool.
So So that's why we did it. The last seminar on Wednesday has a beer tasting. The last seminar on Thursday has a wine tasting. So we want, like, I'm thinking, how am I going to make it so that everybody? Because listen, everybody wants to get educated, but you also want to have a good time. This is a conference. This is an event. It's a vacation of sorts. People take a week off to come to this thing out of their busy lives. So I'm trying to give something there for everybody. And you don't have to like every single seminar. You don't have to support every single seminar. But if I'm able to convince you to try to say, hey, I really want to go to that one, or man, that's piquing my interest, let me read more about it, that's what I'm trying to do. And it's very difficult. This is 30 unique pieces of content that I'm building to try, and there's interest in all of them. So I think we've done a good job. This is the reason why, guys, 95% of the people with a survey that we send out, and you know how surveys work, usually the people that fill out a survey have something bad to say. 95% of the people that have attended BetBash in the past return to BetBash in the future. Why? Because it's built by bettors like myself for bettors. We cater to the sports bettor, and we give you guys what you want. We listen to your feedback, and thanks for giving me the time for that long-winded answer.
It's honestly, Spanky, it's a great answer. I'm going through everything as you say it all, and it's such a good point. Like, people are, God, like, people just, like, they find ways to complain about so much shit, and it's like, dude, just go to another seminar. Like, shut up and go to a different one. go have lunch or a drink during that time. Like, no one's got a gun to your head telling you to go to any one particular session or vice versa.
Yeah. I'm glad you got Matt Landis in there for props and hops. He invited me onto his show last fall, I think it was, and I went on with him and chatted with him for almost 2 hours, I think. But that was a lot of fun. I think it'll be cool to have something like that live and be able to grab a beer with him while he's doing his show. It's pretty cool. But there is so much to choose from. It is kind of you really have to pick and choose. What advice would you give to guys, especially like me and John here, who haven't been to BetBash before? Like, Pace has been there. What would you say to us about how to pick and choose, especially if we're sort of, more on the sharp side of things?
So I will say this: gambling and the law, banking and gambling and tax. These are going to be coming back every single year. Sports betting 101. A lot of we're going to repeat these because these things. There's things that change. Tax laws change. Banking regulations and all this, and people are going to that's always going to be a need for somebody in their sports betting career. So that's always going to be there. So if you could think of something else to go to, because you could always say, I'll just check that out last year. I don't know how, the decisions are tough, even for me. I don't know to advise you. It depends on where you are in your sports betting career and what you want to do at the time. And then there's sometimes people might just say, listen, I'm just going to go grab lunch, or I'm just going to go have a drink at the bar, and I'm just going to take that hour off. It's up to you. It's not, there's no mandatory attendance. It's a one price gets it all, and all is whatever you want it to be. What I would advise is you try to take advantage as much as possible. But, have fun, enjoy yourself. There's no pressure on anything, and it's a very welcoming community. So, just to go back to Pace's initial thing, if you are a newcomer and you think this is so overwhelming, there's so much shit going on, don't worry. We'll hold your hand. You find me, one of my staff, and I'm sure even you guys have been in the game for a long time. You guys, and nobody, we've all been there. We didn't know shit. But we have to be able to help the new breed of sports bettors coming up and hold their hand just the way our hands were held and guide them through. And that's why I created this conference, to be able to help everybody out, because I needed help. I didn't have a BetBash when I was coming up 25 years ago. I had the forums like the RX and Major Wager and Bettor's World, where guys were nice enough to answer my questions, slide into the private messages, and I'm so happy now to be able to offer something similar to that in person.
Yeah. John, as you kind of go through the seminar here, how are you going to try to decide what to go to? Anything jumping off the page to you?
Well, so last year I was there, but I wasn't at the seminars on the first day. Okay. So I'm definitely interested in anything, especially with all the stuff that's going on in the the political regulatory climate, all the stuff around the taxes and all that. So I'll definitely be attending. I actually, Gary Condler is my CPA. So I've not met Gary in person. So looking forward to meeting him in person this time around, which is hilarious. So yeah, those will probably be my focus. And then if I can stick my head in things like college football, of course, my favorite sport in the world. So would love to attend that if possible. But yeah, that's probably my planned route.
Love it. I guess while we're on the topic, Spanky, I got to ask you about the big beautiful bill, and how we've been talking a lot about gambling and taxes specifically in the U.S. Over the last few weeks because of the bill, and I saw the Bet Fair Act be introduced by I think it's Representative Dina Titus out of Nevada. Are you hopeful that we'll be able to avoid this particular piece of legislation taking effect in January, that would reduce your write-offs from 100% of losses to 90%? Do you think that Dina Titus will be able to get this thing through, and that this will all be like a big hullabaloo for nothing?
Well, Dina Titus' staff has reached. We tried to get Dina Titus to come to BetBash and speak to the
that would
crowd.
have been cool.
Unfortunately, she's not unable to make it, but she will be sending a video to address the BetBash audience.
Oh.
So Congressman Titus will do that, and also Congressman Horsford out of Nevada as well will be sending a video to address the BetBash audience. So we're really proud of that. We're still trying to find somebody. We've reached out to congressmen, senators, and everything. It's very difficult. Doesn't help when somebody named Spanky sends you an email asking you to come to their conference. But we're trying our best. And but yeah, this is something that I think will eventually be repealed. I think given there's bipartisan support for this, and I think I don't know if it's going to be repealed by January, but even if it gets repealed sometime in 2026, I think it'll be retroactive. So I'm not really worried. I just don't think it's just not common sense, to be able to when you're able to tax somebody that breaks even. And you get a tax bill for breaking even. I think now we're borderline tyranny here, and that's not what America's about. Sure, there's countries that don't even charge tax on gambling income, but we here, you pay tax on gambling income, but when you pay tax on income that's not even income, I think that's when you've crossed the line. And I think this came out of Idaho. And again, listen, I think, Idaho, we thank them for the greatest potatoes that we've all known, but I think they should just, there's not really any regulated sports betting in Idaho from what I understand. So it's crazy how some of these bills and laws try to come into play from people that don't really understand the impact. And it was kind of eye-opening on how these things happen and how these things operate. So, but yeah. I do believe that things will be repealed. Sorry for that. Again, I talk a lot, so just feel free to cut me off, boys.
Go. No, but I do want to ask you though, Idaho, where did you find that out? Because there was a lot of people out there trying to figure out who is the senator that introduced this piece of legislation, because there was a whole investigation going on online trying to figure that out. How did you nail it down to someone?
Well, I just know the chair of the Senate Finance Committee was a guy by the name of Mike Crapo. I want to make sure I get the name right. Mike Crapo, Crapo, and that's what I've read, and that's what people have concluded. It might have been a staffer, a junior staffer, or something. I don't know, man. Listen, it's hard enough laying 110 for a living. Do I know where these bills originate from and shit? I honestly have no idea. So I'm just, no matter what it is, it's in there. We got to get it taken out. We have the senators are in. Senator Cortez Masto in from Nevada. She's working on the Full House Act, which is the Fair Bet Act from the House, and we're just we're doing our best to try to get this thing resolved, man. You know what I mean? But I have no doubt in my mind. I feel really good from what I'm hearing that this thing will be repealed eventually.
Well, that's great news, especially for people like you and John, working in the States. I hope you're right about that. I can only imagine too that this topic is going to really sort of be hanging over BetBash. It's going to be on the minds of many, I imagine.
It will be. And that's why we wanted to have a keynote speaker. Like, it's funny because I always look at it like, we're going to have 600 plus people screaming your name. How do you not want to accept the invitation to come and have people, if this isn't a future campaign video handed on a silver platter, I don't know what is. If these are, this will be legitimate fandom from people saying thank you so much. And that's how, that's how I'm kind of pushing it when I write these emails or I reach out to these senators and these Congress people, is that this is a hero's welcome. And, you don't have to pay a crowd or pump a crowd in to, some of these politicians, they have to pay for crowds or they have to, manufacture fandom. This is legitimate fandom that you'll have. And we haven't gotten any bites, but we did get some of those pre-recorded videos, which we're very grateful for. But again, we're trying our best to try to get somebody to show up in person, but we're an underdog on that at this time.
Yeah, that's a good point. The big political opportunity there to get a whole crowd of people cheering for you. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, those are great optics if you can pull that off.
100%. And these are you don't know when they're coming up for re-election. We're giving you the campaign video. All you got to do is show up for 10-15 minutes and say things that and assure the crowd that you're going to do everything you can to repeal this or to have your the correction acts get passed. So we're hoping for the best, but we'll see what happens.
You mentioned Spank Odds changing its name. What are you calling it?
Spot Odds.
Spot Odds. Okay, Spot Odds. And is this the same as what Spank Odds was? Is that the idea, or is it changing?
Everything's the same. The only thing that's different is the name Spot Odds. We kind of are now trying to get a little bit more PG rating. Trying to enter, it's
work on that SEO.
I don't know about that. We don't really do any marketing. We're just trying to have a girl with a -110 on her ass was all fun and games back in the day when I was dreaming about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm going to leave those fantasies to my bedroom, and we're going to have we're going to keep everything. We're Spot Odds, where our logo is now a magnifying glass with a -110 in it.
Okay. How professional of you, Spanky?
How what?
How professional of you?
Thank you so much. I try my best.
Yeah. Spanky is a real pro. With that, though, I've got to ask, because we've had some people ask in our community, and I'm wondering myself, and we're seeing the growth of exchanges in a big way. Is there any plans to bring exchanges onto your service, onto Spot Odds? Could you see a Kalshi? Could you see a Polymarket, or even our sponsor SX show up on Spot Odds?
So we've had SX on Spot Odds. I'm not sure. I think they might still be on there.
Oh,
okay. We have Kalshi lines on Spot Odds. We have Sport Trade lines on Spot Odds. We have Profit X on Spot Odds. We have No Vig on Spot Odds. So the list goes on and on. So whatever is out there, anybody that wants to deal lines and they come to us at this point. You know what I mean? So yeah. We're happy to welcome
on that, Shane.
Yeah.
Like, you don't work with any exchanges. He lists 15.
Yeah.
Also,
Shane, I could tell you're not a Spot Odds user. No problem.
Maybe soon enough. Maybe you'll bring me in. But no, I haven't been a Spot Odds user. You're absolutely right. And
we'll try to fix that during BetBash. No big deal.
There we go. Okay,
stop by the Spot Odds table.
I'll check it out.
We'll give you a nice demo.
Yeah,
right on
for sure.
Well, hey, Spanky, I do want to say as we kind of wrap things up here, you did a great job with BetBash last year. It was my first time there, and you were crazy busy. But after the fact, you made sure to follow up with me as a individual at the event. You do the surveys, and then as a sponsor, pretty detailed call on all the feedback associated with the sponsorship package of BetBash. And we can see that feedback has been integrated into this year's event. So I got to give you a shout out for that. This stuff that you put on, it's a lot of work, but at the same time, you can hang up your hat and go, this is how we do it at BetBash, and that's that. But, you guys really listen to the people that attend. and you take the surveys seriously. And yeah, I think that it's going to be even better this year. So I appreciate you listening to all of our feedback, implementing the things that we put forward. And it was something that I didn't feel like needed much improvement, but where you can, you do. And I respect that.
Pace, thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, brother.
Rock and roll, buddy. Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Try to enjoy it this year. Hey, you were so stressed last year.
No, it's funny because I run the event, so I would rather. I try to every night. I have a good time. I'm at the bar every night, but I'd rather sacrifice my enjoyment to make sure that the 600 people that come, plus it might be even 700 this year, but to make sure that everybody else has a good time. That's what we're running a conference, so, and if people are paying their hard-earned money for it, I want to make sure that they're happy. And that's what it comes down to. And believe me, don't get me wrong, I always have a good time. I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? I got a great staff too. I'm so hands-on with everything. Maybe I should just let my staff do everything and me kind of sit back and relax, but that's not me. You know what I mean? So it's hard to change that's my DNA type thing where I got to get my hands dirty and be in it. You know what I mean? I can't just sit back and, watch it potentially implode. So I gotta be there and that's just it. But no, I appreciate the great feedback. And I can't wait for you guys to come. And Shane, I know you're a first timer. Looking forward to meeting you, brother. And John, welcome back. Pace, welcome back. In Play Live. We can't wait to have you guys. We're really souped up, and it's going to be a great time, boys. And I can't wait. Your panel, your seminar is going to be incredible. I think currently now, believe it or not, I think it might be sold out.
I got a bunch of messages in the last few days of people that signed up that I haven't met on Discord. So I thought that was positive feedback.
Yep.
It also shows, the live betting stuff is people want to learn about it. So hopefully we can help 100%. Some people out.
And this is something that I listened to you. You told me live betting was underrepresented, which was 100% correct. I dropped the ball on that, but hopefully No, I did. In the last 3, because it's not my thing, and I needed somebody like you guys who are engulfed in the live betting to say, Spanky, we got to put live betting at the forefront. And I'm like, you're right. And I'm so happy that you guys did it. And thank you for doing this. And I'm sure your seminar, there's a big appetite for it. And I know you guys are going to bring it and then some. I know John, I saw that John had a nice smile on his face when I said that. He's going to bring it, and you guys are all going to bring it. So I can't wait.
Yeah, likewise. I'm really excited as a first timer to be coming out, and can't wait to meet you in person, Spanky, and just shake your hand. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, we'll see you in about 3 weeks. Just want to say thanks for coming on the show to talk about it and answer our questions and sort of put up with us here. And in 3 weeks, you'll have to put up with us in person. Good fun.
Does John get a little bit more talkative on the bar, or what's
John's going to do all of our CFL stuff for us.
Oh, okay. So John's getting ready to just do CFL right now.
Oh, yeah. Line by line.
Oh, shit. All right. This is great. Because, John, you didn't say much on this last thing. I'm like, we got to get John out of his shell. But John, I guess, talks on the CFL like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Get me going. Once we start talking about lines and winning money, I'm all in.
All right. I got you. I love it. Love it.
There we go.
All right, boys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time. Until next time.
Thanks, Spanky. All right, that was Spanky. Wow, what a blast, guys! Hilarious, quite a character. Can't wait to meet him in person. That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, guys. And I think he's right. We're gonna bring it on that panel. So if you are going to BetBash, let us know. Reach out to us. Drop us a comment. Let us know. Look forward to meeting you there in person in Vegas in about 3 weeks' time. But now it is time for the gridiron grind. We are back. We're talking CFL, but Pace, you said you want to talk a little bit about some college football, some NFL. It's all starting to feel like it's right around the corner.
I want to talk about college football.
I don't know. You said you wanted to mention some stuff about futures.
Oh, futures in the CFL. Shane, come on.
Oh, CFL futures. Oh, geez, wow.
July 22nd here.
What am I doing here?
Recording 23rd as you're listening. Well, if you want to talk about futures in those sports, I think it is important to mention that John just released to our members his whack-load of futures for college football in the NFL. And it is that time of year where, you're starting to see some line movement. You're starting to see some hype. And we're going to see a lot of that over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And John's done really well with that stuff. And I would say, like, depending on your level of betting, you could literally join in Play Live for those picks in August and get those and not even worry about our live shit. And there's tremendous value in it. Again, depending on your level of betting. But yeah, no, Shane, I was actually wanting to talk about the CFL, so I'll just get right into it. The Alouettes have been the odds-on favorite for the Super Cup since week 1, and they still are today. They have their starting quarterback now out for the next 6 weeks minimum.
Oh, 6 weeks, really?
Yeah, minimum.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So Alexander apparently was dealing with a hamstring issue before the season started. He re-aggravated it. He just had 3 or 4 weeks off, and then in the dying plays of that last game, he fucked it up again. If you could bet against Montreal, I still think they have a great chance of winning it all once he's healthy. That number will not get better for the rest of this season until he returns. And even then, there's a chance that they might have to do some winning to even get back into a playoff spot. Now, do I think they're going to be in the playoffs? Yes. But I think that number cannot go up over the next 6 weeks. I don't think McLeod Bethel Thompson is strong enough. I'm pretty sure he lost to some bad team. I think they might have lost to Ottawa even. That might be their one win. Calgary, which, we mentioned at 21-1 after week 1. They're down to 4.0 on some books. So that's they're the second odds on favorite, which is really cool. The other team that I wanted to mention was the BC Lions. So the Montreal Alouettes at the start of the season were the favorite to win it all. BC was the second favorite. So Nathan Rourke came in and got hurt and then missed 3 weeks. They lost all those games. He came back, and last week they got to 13.5. They lost this last week and they went down to 13. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they have what it takes to win. But when you have the second odds on favorite essentially behind Montreal, but both around the same odds, all of a sudden paying 13.0 because their starting quarterback was out is just crazy to me. I'm personally not betting that one. It's just one of those things when you're looking at futures markets where you go, what am I missing here? This team was so hyped up. They haven't necessarily underperformed all that much. They just didn't have their QB. He came back, he won a game, came back, he lost a game. Yeah, I think, if he can get clicking, they may have a shot. And just with 6 teams making the playoffs, if one of them's sitting there at 13.0, there could be some value there.
Cool. All right. So something to take a look at there. John, why don't we dive into this week's slate? And we'll start with the Alouettes heading to play Calgary on Thursday night. So we're gonna see these two teams play, but obviously, as Pace mentioned, not Montreal will be without their starting quarterback. So, John, what are we looking at here?
Yeah. So I see this line is sitting somewhere between Calgary -6 and -7. So some books we're recording this on Tuesday. Normally we record on Monday. So on Tuesday, Pinnacle and some of the other sharper books actually have lines out on the games. So they've got the Calgary side -6.5 juiced on the minus side. So they're really saying it's like a 7 flat kind of line. And so I make it closer to 10 with no Alexander. So I'll definitely be taking. I've actually already placed a wager on Calgary -6 flat. You can get -5.5 out there. A little juicy, but I think it's probably worth like the -113 to get the -5.5. But yeah, I already bet that, and then I already put them in a teaser with another game we'll talk about in a few minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. And yeah, I see those lines posted there. Okay. All right. Well, the next one is Edmonton. The Elk going to Saskatchewan to play the Rough Riders on Friday night.
Yep. So this line, Saskatchewan -9 to -10. So -9.5, probably about the consensus line in the market. That's exactly where I've got it. I've got it like minus 9.5 at like minus 105 is probably the line I would set. So I don't really see too much value there, but I did add this as my other teaser leg. So I've got a 7-point teaser, which you can get on some books at minus 110 for the CFL. I've got that. So I've got Saskatchewan minus 2.5 with Calgary +1 in my teaser for this week.
Ooh, love it! And you're getting that at even money or normal juice?
Yeah, minus 110. Yep,
minus 110.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you can also you could do a 6-point teaser, get that minus 3.5. I think that's still fine. And you can do that at 2.0 on the same books. So I would just shop around for those teaser lines, but they're out there.
Nice. Love it. Okay. So we'll call that an official call. The teaser is an official behind the line CFL call.
Yeah, and the Calgary minus 6 as well. Though I imagine by the time people hear this, it might be up to 7, but I'd still bet it at minus 7. So
right, okay. Saturday, Winnipeg, the Bombers going to Toronto to face the Argos.
I see Pace is probably betting Calgary right now, the way he's laser focused. But so this line. So I'm thinking, based on this line, that Kelly is still not playing. I saw that he's practicing, but that Arbuckle is taking first team reps. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I make it like Winnipeg minus 1.5, minus 2. So right now in the market, it's right now in the market, it's like minus 2.5, minus 3.5 somewhere, some places. So you can actually like take the pregame minus 110 middle on the 3, which is like, if you ever got that in the NFL, you would just be hammering both sides of that because it's like a dream scenario. There's just an insane amount of ROI betting those pregame middles, but they just don't exist in the NFL. I wouldn't do it in the CFL, so the scores aren't as consistent. But so I'm not really going to do much with this game. It's pretty close to where I make the line. So this one's going to be a pass for me.
If Kelly somehow plays and you can get really good plus money on the Argos,
if you can get plus money,
but I honestly think he could come back pretty rusty.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be, we saw Alexander come back. Granted, that was like a soft tissue injury that had just happened. This one is like a leg fracture that he hasn't played in a while. But Alexander looked terrible last week coming back off injury. So anytime I get these quarterbacks that are coming back, I'm just going to kind of wade in a little bit slowly and just make sure I'm calibrating everything correctly.
Right. Sounds like it could be a good live opportunity there too. If we see Chad Kelly come in and he is playing well, and the Argos might still be dogs in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Over to the final game of the week. Hamilton Tiger Cats going to face the BC Lions. A battle of the cats over there.
Yeah, BC is minus 3 in this game. I actually think this should be closer to a pick. So I will probably take a little bit on the Hamilton side on the +3. I'm going to wait and just see if it gets to 3.5, because I think people just tend to blindly bet like home favorites in this league. And then we see the line move, like the day before and the day of a lot of the time. So I'm just going to kind of watch this as the week goes on. I'm not in a rush to get that +3, because I think if they just don't get the ball first, you'll get the 3.5 live immediately without anything happening in the game. So I'm not really in a rush, but if it does get up to 3.5, 4 before the game starts, then I probably would take Hamilton on that line. But again, like I said, I'm just going to wait.
Okay. So to recap here, we're on the Calgary minus 6.5. We are looking to also take a teaser with Saskatchewan. So Calgary and Saskatchewan, a 7-point teaser with those two teams. Passing on Winnipeg and Toronto for now, but we will look for some live value there. And kind of the same thing with Hamilton and BC, unless the pregame line moves in BC's favor, in which case we would be looking to take the Tiger Cats at +3.5, +4.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Awesome. Well, looking forward to another CFL slate ahead. All right, guys, I think that's our... Go ahead, Pace.
I was just going to say, we did well last week too, though. No, did we got the BC teaser, because we teased BC and and Calgary. We got the Calgary spread and the Calgary money line.
Yep.
The only thing we missed was the BC Calgary parlay.
That was the one. Yeah.
Which would have been, again, back to that unit sizing discussion, what you would have put the least on.
That would have been the smallest wager, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was another really good week behind us of pregame CFL betting, and the live betting went really well as well. We had a couple bets come through late, especially that BC, everything. That BC late touchdown was really, it was a game saver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have another good week here, guys. I don't think we got anything else on the slate for today. So I think that wraps it up for this week. So Pace, John, Spanky, if you're still tuning in, and to sports bettors around the world, till next week, keep beating those books. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Lines. Remember to like, download, and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Have a betting story or want to be featured on our podcast? Drop a note in the comments below. And if you want to join in play live, use promo code Behind the Line.